Hello, true believers. This is Joseph here, the host for today of the Petty Cash Podcast. On my right here, we have Danny. Over here looking at his phone, we got Vinny here. And we have, looking at him in disappointment, Charles right here. Well, we just got back from exciting last weekend. We were at Mad Monster. And during that time, we also caught up with Marvel's latest movie, Thor, Love and Thunder. And, boys, should we just get Thor and Love and Thunder out of the way?
Yes. Sure. Yeah.
Well, it sucked. No. So, okay. So this was the fourth entry of Thor and, Thor's movie here. And, of course, he was, with the Guardians of the Galaxy. If you haven't seen Avengers Endgame, well, I mean, what the fuck you've been doing?
For the last 3 years.
Yeah. Has it been 3 years?
Yeah, May of 2019. No, April, because they did that weird thing where they switched the release dates from May to April for the last two Avengers movies.
Yeah, it was released during my birthday.
Oh, yeah. I totally forgot when your birthday was, but yeah.
It's okay.
No, so, okay. To, cut things, a little synopsis of the movie. It's basically Thor, getting his stuff together and all that. I mean, basically trying to lose, like, the Thor Lebowski look that he got from Endgame. We last saw him with the Guardians of the Galaxy, but right now there's a new threat, of course, being played by Dark Knight's Batman, Christian Bale. He'll be playing the God Killer known as Gore. And with him, well, things are a little shaken up, a little different now, because now we have a new Thor. Of course, I mean, it's not a spoiler or anything. They showed it in the trailers. The new Thor is, of course, Jane Foster, with being played by Natalie Portman. And actually, out of her performance, because she was kind of like introduced up front first, with now taking over the mantle, the Mjolnir, so to speak. I thought she did a good job, what she was given.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, Danny, what do you have in mind with Thor, Love and Thunder?
I remember we saw this, I think either the night before, the first night of Mad Monster, and it was like one of the latest showings. It was like 9 o'clock we saw that. Man, there was like only the 5 of us for like most of like the trailers, and all of a sudden, oh man.
Yeah, and usually when you guys go to theaters and all that, you have either the manager come out being introduced, and like, get ready, guys, this is it, like whatever new movie's out, everyone all hyped up, yay. There was no manager at this AMC at Westgate. Everyone was just tired. Heck, we almost passed out just because of working and staying up and getting things ready. But we enjoyed ourselves quite a bit in there. Just the 5 of us. Don't worry, nothing funny happened in there. A good buddy of ours, Christian, was there. But yeah, all it took was that one guest and then a couple family members that walked in. But at least they weren't like loud or annoying, like
I think
people.
That was us, if anything.
No, well, that was us. And I had the opportunity to actually introduce the film myself. So don't worry, I did their job, AMC. Thank you. But I know there were some kind of mixed reviews about this movie. I know Taika Waititi, he pretty much took the comedy of the previous movie, Thor Ragnarok, and just kind of amplified it in this movie. Now, I know there's been a couple reviewers out there that just went like, this was more of a more comedy action flick than, the Thor movies. This was a total, I would say, definitely a 180 from the previous two, the first 2 Thor movies. I welcomed it. I mean, it was, to me, there was nothing wrong. I mean, I was kind of like in the middle ground. Like, I could see where people had a problem with it. And then there was just moments I could not hold myself laughing at it just because there were some ridiculous moments in there. And I'm like, okay, like, I know where they're going with this. Just accept it for what it is. I'm in for it. What do you guys have to say?
Weirdly, like when the movie started, I didn't notice it started because like the trailers that play the AMC, like, oh, visit AMC theaters, like what, like, that's just my, okay, I'm not getting into that right now, but like all the promos ended and then the movie started with like this white sandy like desert. I couldn't tell it started until I saw Christian Bale, like, oh, okay, the movie started.
Yeah.
Christian Bale as a whole, he did a good job as Gore the God Butcher. He was one of my favorite parts of the movie. He had some really creepy scenes too, like in the middle of the movie. Natalie Portman, I enjoyed her performance. It's always fun to see Chris Hemsworth as Thor. It's nice to see him as a somewhat normal Thor with the long blonde hair and a little bit of a beard and the giant ass muscles. Tessa Thompson was fine as Valkyrie. I enjoyed Taika Waititi as Korg as usual. The costume design. Natalie Portman's Thor costume was awesome looking. Her helmet, her whole Asgardian looking armor was really cool looking. And one of my favorite sequences in the movie, they've shown it in the trailers, is the near black and white, deeply unsaturated color sequence. They're in the Nether Realm. I don't remember what it was officially called, but I'm just calling it the Nether Realm. And
for Mortal Kombat, yeah,
whatever. But that whole sequence was beautiful. That when colors actually popped in, it was beautifully popped. It was a really cool fight sequence. But I think that's about as many compliments as I can give that movie.
All right, let's go with the good stuff.
Okay, so for me, it definitely was it started off really interesting with that whole scene in the desert and everything, and then it promptly went into cheesy popcorn flick. This is basically one of those films where it's if you see it in theaters, fine, but you don't really have to. You can wait for it to hit Disney Plus, and you're not going to really be missing much of anything because
you're just going for the kill now.
Oh yeah, no, I am. It. Don't go into this expecting to learn the meaning of life or anything, because no, you're not. This is just meant to be just pure cheese, some slapstick humor, and not really taking itself seriously. The costumes were awesome. I thought Thor's costume was great. Natalie Portman's Mighty Thor. I thought her costume was great. The effects I thought were pretty good, with the exception of when during one scene, Natalie's helmet appears on her head just magically. That magical system that they have now where their helmets just appear. They don't have to store them anywhere. They just appear and form onto their head, almost like nanotech. That one took me out of it because I could see how badly it was drawn on her head. And I was just you guys have a budget. How are you guys missing this?
Crunch time.
Yes. I'm not gonna blame. Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm not going to blame the artists themselves that had to work on this. I'm putting the blame squarely on, those that were, saying, oh, we got to get it done, crunch time, blah, 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 yeah. Exactly. Get it done! Yeah, no, I'm blaming management on this one. But anyway, and by the way, speaking of management, I'm also blaming AMC for not keeping their projectors properly calibrated, because the keystone was wrong on that. If you guys noticed that the bottom of the image was actually warped upward.
I actually didn't notice that.
Yes, it was. And there was actually some of the text that was getting cut off, too, because of that, the effect. You could see it on the edges of the screen.
So fill out your guest surveys.
Yes, exactly. You're wrong! But anyway, but yeah, I'll admit I did laugh at moments of this just because of the pure, silliness of it. And I also did enjoy aspects of it. Like I said, the desert scene I thought was done very well. It had a very serious nature about it, and it leads you in a direction where it's oh, you think the movie's going to go one way. Nope, it goes a different way. Also, like you said, I didn't get a chance to glance at what it was, but I think it was the Shadow Realm or something like that, that realm that they were in.
It's the Shadow Realm.
Okay, yeah. That was exceptionally well done, how they did that. And of course, Natalie Portman looked freaking awesome as Mighty Thor. Yeah. But it
it's just one of those films where it's like it's not as bad as Eternals, but I'm just like, eh.
I would definitely say it's better than Eternals.
Well, yeah.
Yes,
It's not.
it is.
It's not. It's
It's
not
1,000
as.
times better than the Eternals.
Yeah. It's not as. Yeah. It's not as bad as the Eternals, but it's just it. It fell flat. I feel like they could have done a bit more with it, and I felt somebody. It was the pitch meetings. They said, they jokingly said, it's Thor and he's stupider than ever, and I feel that that's kind of the thing, and I miss the days where it's like, I know Thor's supposed to kind of be the fighter of the group if you're using like D&D terms, so he's not always supposed to be the smartest in the room.
He's supposed to be the boastful, cheery god. That's what
Right.
he's supposed to be.
But, he's not supposed to be a rock stupid idiot either, Like, what was the name of his buddy, that rock? Korg. Okay, thank you.
Hey, man, I got a ship. You want to come?
Yeah, Korg could be like, hey, Thor, you're a little stupid. You need to wisen up a little bit there. But anyway, I can't do his voice. But anyway, but yeah. So it was good, but, if you don't see it in theaters, you're not missing much.
Okay, so my opinion on Thor: Love and Thunder. First of all, I will agree that the screen that we saw was a bit blurry, and that was kind of fucking annoying because I felt like I needed glasses for that. Second of all, Thor: Love and Thunder, on my opinion on this, I enjoyed it as a Marvel film. I'm not going to say it's one of my top favorites because, it just seems like they're taking, in a criticism way, they're taking Thor's tragic backstory as kind of like a slapstick joke. And I'm just like, man, you can't just take a good character and make a good serious story with a little bit of humor. No, we have to go full funny and just smash it into your face here. No pun intended.
But of dish.
So, what did I think about the movie? I really did enjoy this movie. Christian Bale's performance was phenomenal. I really loved what he brought to this film. Chris Hemsworth, as always, amazing God of Thunder. Natalie Portman as the Mighty Thor. Fuck yes. I really loved her costume design. I love what she brought to it. And by the way, her hammer in this movie, 1,000 times better than what it was before. Like, I really love what they did with the hammer in this film, so I'm not going to spoil it, but definitely one of my favorite
We can talk
peaks.
with spoilers on this one.
We can?
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead. Yeah, sure.
So when Jane throws her hammer, it separates into little pieces. It shoots like shining stars, and that was like the coolest fucking thing ever. The fact that the hammer can just dissipate and then come back together, and I just love that part. Costume design, great. Story-wise, okay. Film-wise, fun popcorn flick. Like, this was just something that I really did enjoy. But I just hope that we don't get too much of like the stupid comedy shit that's just gonna bash us in the face all the time. As far as Marvel's direction, I have no fucking idea what they're doing at this point. They're just throwing shit out there. But all in all, I really did enjoy the movie. It was a lot of fun.
So, going back with Thor: Love and Thunder. Okay, so we did have our little, quips with the movie and everything. For me, I know that we all talked about it the night of. There was kind of a, point score, let's say a, 10 score for this one. Danny, you gave it a
5.5.
5.5. Vinny, what did you give it?
I would say 7.
7?
Yeah.
Charles?
I gave it a 6.
So 5, 7, 6. Me, it's undecided. Nope. Like, for me, it's just like, oh, it's good. Is it bad? No, it's just one of those films. I'm like, you know what? You're great as a background sound. Yeah. Not to say that it's awful, but if there's some moments that made me chuckle, and that's why I almost busted out laughing, because there was one particular scene I could not hold my, I'm going to say it, hold my shit together. There was a moment where, like, they're all riding to, Gore's little planet and everything. Yeah. And as soon as it, face crashed to the planet, there's these screaming goats. And when they freaking yell, because you forgot about them as soon as, like, the movie went on and on. But as soon as they screamed, I could not hold my shit for a good 10 minutes because I was like...
I think everyone.
You just hear, "Wah!"
Oh my gosh, here we go again.
And it's round 2, everyone.
I don't care, man. No. And what do we say about cell phones, man?
Sorry. I was trying to get this up.
Oh, anyway.
Oh, this.
Hey, yeah, okay.
That's what I was trying to get up. I'm so sorry.
we'll get to that. See, for me, I'm like, that alone, that little millisecond of scene is like an automatic 10 out of 10. What Thor Love and Thunder?
I will give them that. That was a good one.
So, I mean, and I'm gonna say it like with, everyone like, oh wow, I love Natalie Portman's like costume and everything. Great what they did translating it from the comics to basically movie translation. I mean, I liked it, but I'm just gonna say she was like muscle tone, like buff, hot.
So good.
Yeah, fine, good. Like, okay, like Anakin. This is what you force choked. Now who's gonna get force choked now? But so yeah, with Chris Hemsworth, I mean, he's hamming it up as always. I mean, he had more creative comedy freedom than he did with Ghostbusters 2016. This is just all him. I think Russell Crowe being shown as Zeus, I mean, come on. He's never going to get away from any, like, Gladiator-esque, type of, movies and all that, just because he's such an icon. Yeah, Taika Waititi as Korg was pretty funny. Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie. Oh man, did they? I'm just gonna say they really let loose with like some of they hinted like lesbian scenes, but it was. I mean, that's her character and everything. A welcoming bit, and so that movie. Yeah, I'm still undecided. Like, am I gonna take this as a great or a terrible movie? No, this is just. It's a fun movie. That's probably the rating I get. A fun out of 10. Yes, I know how crazy that sounds. I was like, nah, I'm not going to abide by your point system. So I'm just like, eh.
I like that. That's a really great. That is a good way to put it.
Yeah. So I know, Danny, we talked about this. Like, there was something off. I get it. It totally like dwelled away too much from the seriousness from like the first and second. There were, I'm going to take this from 3C Films. There were some moments that was like, okay, Jane Foster, she, in the movie, she has cancer. I mean, just like in the comics. But there was like moments where it's like, okay, let's get to like the juicy, serious part. Because you think like Thor, like, oh my God, like my love here on Earth is about to die. And they just kind of like put it under the rug and all that. Like, that's sad mopey stuff. Let's just get to the funny action stuff. Like, we know where this movie was going. So that's why I was just like, okay, so they're just going to, lower the serious parts of the movie. Like, just dial it down. Which, to me, Thor pretty much lost everything. Almost lost everything. Well, towards the end, he practically did. Almost. And he, you're kind of like, I want to feel bad for him, but he's just too damn happy. Like,
Very happy. Yeah, just bizarrely happy.
Like, I was expecting, like, Lady Sif, she's back after
finally,
after two movie absence and all that.
Missing a limb.
Oh, yeah, where the heck were you in Endgame and all that? Yeah, missing a limb. Like, I would expect, like, the Guardians to come back and be like, hey, let's give you a robot arm after we gave you that robotic eye. He still has that robotic eye.
Yeah.
So, let's give your friend a missing arm here. No. He's still going to be that one-armed person and all. But what's that actress name anyway?
Jamie Alexander.
Jamie Alexander? Yeah. No, it was good to see her. I wish her role was a little more fleshed out because she was important in like the first and second movie, and then they just were like, no, we got Tessa and Jane, Tessa and Natalie Portman, so we don't need a third woman here. We'll just keep Korg, even though Korg's kind of like the comic side relief, and he just turned into Fruity Pebbles after. Not dead.
He turned into a pile of Captain Crunch.
Talking head.
Talking head. Yeah. And then with Christian Bale, it was nice, like, oh my God, hey, it's Batman. Like, that's all I could think about. Like, it's Batman, in this Marvel movie and anything. And every time he, like, showed up, like, there were moments, like, in this small new Asgardian town that he was in, and his eyes all glowing orange. that gave me like really hints of like, oh, hey, this is like a callback to like Midnight Mass or Salem's Lot. And so I was just like, and Salem's Lot is coming soon in March or April, so I can't wait for that one. I would say Thor Love and Thunder, if you haven't seen it, yes, I mean, it's your call. If you want to just have a good time, you have nothing to watch at home, just to, enjoy it at the movie theaters, go watch that flick. But if you just want to say, I don't want to waste any money, just wait for it on Disney Plus. Remember, it's your choice, your call. That's all I'm going to leave it as.
So, I guess we can probably just start fully getting into the negatives, or at least our negatives of this movie. For me, I mean, yes, there are aspects of it I liked and I've already mentioned. It was too silly and a little ridiculous at points. Like, for me, I got sick of the screaming goats the second they were tearing up the Guardian ship. I mean... Okay. Now I'm getting sick of Vinny's impression of that. I mean, I can see how kids could find that funny, but at the same time, it was. I will say that was funny, but I can't give it compliments any other than that scene, because it was like, it was perfect comedic timing. It was the slam, a moment of silence, and then the scream. That was good comedic timing. But good lord, I don't want to hear a movie's worth of screaming goats.
I can't agree. There are points where I felt like they were putting that in too much. But then again, that moment when they just hit the planet and it's a split second delay, and then you hear the screams, that was good.
I'll give them that, yes. And like we've known at this point, like all these former, if not current, VFX artists that have worked with Marvel, saying like the crunch time on this movie and other past movies and projects has led to the effects and looking not as good as they could. And there were moments in Thor: Love and Thunder where like, okay, I wish they could have spent more time on this effect, because it didn't look as good as, because some effects in this movie did look really good. Some of the environments looked really good. Some of the simple like green screen transitions looked really good. But then there were some that didn't look like, oh well, the lighting on that's off. That's clearly a green screen. For me, Thor was too ridiculous at points. Like it was like he was hamming up the like humor and like dodging is like one of the stages of grief, correct?
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like he was hamming up that aspect so much. Like, he's lost his brother, he's alone in the universe, he doesn't know what he wants to do anymore. So I feel like he's just, like, putting up this shell of, like, well, I'm just going to do whatever I want and help wherever I can.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I miss the serious Thor. Like, I don't mind, like, with what Taika Waititi did in Thor Ragnarok, like, bring a little bit of humor into him. That's fine. But I miss the serious Thor. I miss the all-powerful as Thor Odinson that we got the first, like, 5 appearances. Like, through Thor to, like, Avengers Age of Ultron. That's Thor. He had, like, maybe a few small humor moments, but that's Thor, a serious, brooding Asgardian like, protector, come down to Earth, helping the Avengers. And then from Ragnarok to now, we're like, oh, okay, Ragnarok, he's still kind of that, but, like, with that new, like, Waititi flavor. And then with this, he's almost like Patrick from SpongeBob in ways.
Oh, yeah.
What else? I like Korg, but when he was just a floating head, he was a little like, oh, yeah, he's just a floating head. He's just there. He's not adding anything to anything really.
I don't think he was really a floating head. I think he was just a head that he was.
I just mean like he's just a head
He's
now.
just a head. Okay.
He looks like a head you could mount on a tree for a Halloween decoration.
Yes. And then I think one of my least favorite parts of this movie is when it's the final fight sequence. I think we'll just now get into spoilers for Thor: Love
We've
and
been
Thunder.
saying that, Danny.
I'm just reiterating for people that haven't been paying attention.
So you weren't paying attention to my stuff? I see how it is. All right.
I mean,
Just kidding. Go ahead.
I mean, he was screaming the entire time.
So the one of my least favorite parts of this movie, like. One of the main plots of this movie was, hey, Gore has kidnapped these children from New Asgard, so now Thor and company have to go get them back from the Shadow Realm. I looked it up. It is the Shadow Realm. that whole sequence is cool. One really cool moment is when like the children are talking about Thor in the cage, and then from the shadows you just see Gore come out like, oh shit, that's really creepy. Like that's one of the creepiest moments in this movie, and it was really well done. So by the end of the movie, they go to the kids. Thor is about to rescue them. Gore has taken Stormbreaker. He's about to open like this thing to get like this ultimate wish to like kill all gods. That's
Eternity.
Wish of eternity. So he has Stormbreaker shooting open this portal, and so he like gathers up the kids. Like, find any weapons you can. We're just kids. You're the warriors of Asgard now. Like, okay, cool. So I think at this point they've gotten Stormbreaker back, but the portal is open. So he does the Odin speech, like, whoever possesses hammer, if he be worthy, they shall have the power, if not temporarily, of Thor. And so we get this army of of Asgardian Thor children. And one of the children has a stuffed bunny, and as they're fighting, this kid uses the bunny and it somehow has laser eyes. That whole fight sequence was absolutely ridiculous. With Jane dying at the end, it was sad. Like, so you brought Jane back to kill her off. I mean, yes, her story is she's battling cancer, but I believe in the comic storyline. I haven't read that specific story run, but I believe Mjolnir is what helps her get better. But in this, Mjolnir is actually preventing her from getting better. It's only when she's in the Mighty Thor persona that she's basically healthy and normal. But when she like lets go of it, that's when she's back to her cancerous self. So it was like, okay, well, thanks for bringing back Natalie Portman for just one more movie. So yeah, I there were things I liked about Thor: Love and Thunder, but overall, I left slightly like, well, I saw it.
Okay, so super quick. My negatives, I'm just going to make this as quick as humanly possible. Bringing Jane back just to die at the end of the movie, I thought that was BS because in the comic books, she's still a main character. She's still the main Thor in the Marvel comic universe. I didn't like the fact that she had to die off like that. And yeah, I can't agree that them making Thor more and more comedic as he gets older just seems a little bit of a bizarre choice. Like, honestly, a lot of people hate this movie, but I love it. It's Thor Dark World. That tone of Thor is what I would think of Thor. Very serious, dealing with the loss of family, the loss of loved ones, and fighting to defend two homes that he loves. And now that he's lost almost all of it, you would think in this movie that he would be a little bit more kind of like a little bit laid back and understanding that he has to make peace with himself of losing the ones he loves. But it just, they really threw in the hammer, no pun intended, on comedy. And I feel like they could have pulled back a little bit on that comedy and made it a little bit just as serious and just as fun as it was. But all in all, I still enjoy the movie for what it was.
I'm kind of surprised that no one's brought up the fact that they made Stormbringer and
Oh my gosh.
and also a little bit of Mjolnir, like semi-sentient. That was the thing that made me raise my eyebrow. I think probably more.
Disney.
Disney. Yeah, the fact that Stormbringer could be jealous. It's like, oh, Thor is in a human relationship, but also apparently he has some sort of weird pseudo relationship with his weaponry. Really? No. there is no. I am that kind of annoyed me. That was clearly for the kids, but has that ever been brought up in the comics at all?
I don't know.
You guys are more familiar with the comics. Has some sort of sentience with his weaponry, Stormbringer, Mjolnir?
Not into that comedic aspect.
No.
Okay. So
More in the fact that considering that he is the king of Asgard, he can control who wields the weapons, and they obey his commands. That's about it. It doesn't get it to the point where it's like you see like a drawn picture on Stormbreaker, like, you cheating on me?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, that was definitely a detraction. But another thing that I really wish that they'd have done more was, Christian Bale. He's representing. Didn't they call him the God Butcher at some point? I want to like a few more scenes of him like taking on gods.
Yeah.
You know, I would have loved to have seen that. And I heard that there was supposedly some footage of that got cut. And I'm like, why did you do that? Showing him killing, you know, a god at the start is good, but let's see him now when he's more at, I guess, full power, if you will. Let's at least one more. Let's see him take on one, rather than here's a PowerPoint presentation of all the gods he's destroyed. I'm like, no, because that just says, okay, yeah, we see how widespread it was, but let's actually let the audience see it. Mm-hmm. You know, that's what sells it on the character. You know, like that this guy is a legit threat.
Yeah.
You know, but otherwise, I think the performance that he did was superb. There was a moment where it did seem like he was channeling the Joker, so I thought that was a bit amusing. But yeah, I think I've pretty much given what I wanted to say in terms of things that I wish had been better or things that I didn't like. But yeah. So
Just to wrap that up, it is basically with Thor: Love and Thunder. It fails the aspect of show, don't tell. It was way too comedic. It was basically around the way of we're getting there with Marvel with now Batman Forever-ish and Batman and Robin. So with Thor: Love and Thunder, if you want to see it, go ahead. That's your freedom. So now, off to the big horror sci-fi convention. We got Mad Monster Party Arizona. All right, Vinny, this was your first time. Yeah, volunteering. I mean, for the show and also, with our scavenger hunt. So, first time experience. What did you think about this, man?
I've been wanting to talk about this. Oh my god! So I really did not have any expectations for this because this was like my first horror convention, and I had a lot of fun here with this one because the convention was small but very laid back. It was very chill, and the guest lineup was really good. Like, the guests were amazing. The guests were, again, chill because we would see them just walk by. They would talk to us, ask us how we're doing, and we would just like have normal conversations with them. Joe, you had an amazing highlight, by the way, during this weekend, and I got to meet Danny Trejo. Again, Joe, thank you. And I got to finally meet Nick Castle, the main guy himself, who is Michael Myers, the Shape. So I was able to get a signature from him. And again, so this convention was just a lot of fun because I got to see so many creative people, so much things that I'm not really into, but I really do enjoy the content of it, to where there is a lot of amazing merch and products and art, and it's just, the convention all around was just a lot of fun. Helping out with the scavenger hunt was a lot of fun in my opinion. Like, it was just way more laid back, way more relaxing. I'm ready for next year. I'm ready to do this again. Bring on the Mad Monster.
Yeah, so with our scavenger hunts, we started back in 2018, the Wikipedia Resort, and our first theme was Friday the 13th. The second one was Ghostbusters. The third was kind of like a mix mash of like slasher items anywhere. And then this one, it was basically all the guests, related to the show, but there was like a little twist to it. I know we had the one guest who played Leonardo in Ninja Turtles, so we thought, you know what, let's give this a Ninja Turtle spin. So out in the exhibit hall, we had numerous pizza boxes out there for all the attendees to find, and they had to find like the correct box. It was nice, all the reception that we got, because there were so many people who were like, this, that pizza box thing really threw us all off. So we try to up the stakes with, most of the games and everything. We try and find new creative ways too. So, I mean, if anyone listening out there, if you got any ideas, just shoot in the comments and all that. We'd love to hear them. But, props to, literally, props to Charles Kuwanyama over here, dude, for making all that stuff, getting it all ready, for everybody out in the show. I mean, getting all the props, we worked around with like the sheets and everything. And also, kudos to Mad Monster staff. I mean, Kevin, Eben, thank you so much for, the prizes. Karen too, as well. No, it was really, really fun. A lot of people, I mean, since this is kind of like the first normal Mad Monsters, I mean, finally, we get to see it like full force since like 2019, because we still had like the COVID restrictions last year and everything. So this one right now, which kind of like, all right, now people are coming in droves. What was your favorite? I'm gonna go with all three of you. Like, what was your favorite part about the game? Charles, we'll start off with you.
Well, first, I just wanted to say thank you very much for the shout out there, but I couldn't have done it without like all three of you guys, because each of you also provided an item that was one of the props that went out on the floor. Joe with the TCRI canister, Danny with the Jason Voorhees mask, and Vinny with the Michael Myers knife. That monstrosity of a knife, like 2 feet long. But yeah, so for me, I think my most favorite part of the game was just seeing the positive reactions of not only the attendees but also of the vendors, because so many of the vendors came back with positive reports on it. Like, they said it was so much fun. It was, they enjoyed it. They saw increased traffic. We actually did get a confirmed uptick in sales for one of the vendors. Actually, it was one of the knife salesmen. He actually was not getting much traffic at all until we brought one of the props by, and all of a sudden he started getting more sales. And even then too, was he also sold one of his biggest items there. He
sold his dartboard.
Yes, the dartboard. That was one of his biggest items, and he sold that. And I think he actually sold it to one of the people that was playing the game. Mm-hmm. So that was really that's why we do it, is to to help promote the vendors. And so I think that's the most pleasure that I take out of the game, is seeing others enjoying what we made,
and helping those in need of sales, just to make their ends meet so they can actually go home satisfied.
Absolutely. So yeah, for me, that's my favorite part of the game. And then for the convention itself, getting to have a photo op with Danny Trejo, thanks Joe. And Danny Trejo is so amazing, just like so a pleasant person to be around.
A delight.
A real delight. And I almost had that thought in my head of like, can you be my uncle? Because he's so cool, and surprisingly much shorter than I expected. I so many people I brought this up to thought they envision him as being like 6 foot. No, he's not. He is shorter than I am, and I am 5'7". So, but
You could still kick our ass.
yeah, oh yeah. So yeah, no. I know he totally could, but he is just. Yeah, that's going up into the book, of like awesome celebrity meets. And also Nick Castle.
Yes.
Getting to meet the original Shape, and him, like, I didn't know what to say. I kind of got a bit starstruck, because what happened was I got asked to assist. Superstition Candle Company was there. My friend Guy Caldwell and his wife, they were there, and they were going to, not only do they make candles, but they also make little plushes of various types and characters and stuff. And they made Jason Voorhees, and they also made Michael Myers. Mm-hmm. And they took it up to get it autographed, the Michael Myers one, and he was so taken aback by it. Nick Castle was, that they said, "Hey, can I buy one of them?" And there was like some back and forth, and finally they decided that, what, here, I'll give you a signature in trade for one of your plushes. And he's like, all right, cool. And so I got brought in to assist with taking pictures, because somebody needed to be at their booth, and then she needed to go and deliver the plushes so you could pick one. And then they wanted somebody to take a photo. And so I was like, okay, so I got asked to take a photo. So I'm sitting there snapping photos. And while I'm waiting for, the opportunity, I was like, you know what? I probably should get an autograph with Nick Castle, because I'm like, this guy's a legend. He's one of the, horror movie legends. So I'm like, I really should. So I got one, and after the pictures and everything, then I went up there. I didn't really know what to say to him, but he still carried on a conversation with me. Like he even asked about the scavenger hunt. I was just like, that's so cool, And so again, that's another one in the books of great celebrity, meetings, and that was so awesome. I think about the only downside to the event was that I wish that I could have gotten Jeffrey Combs' signature. I got busy and I intended to get it Sunday, but then by the time I got over there, I guess he had left for the day early. And I nothing against him. I understand that when things get cold and you got other commitments you got to get to and whatnot. You're like, okay, time to pack up. Let's get out. I get it. I just wish that I could have, because the Reanimator is like one of my favorites, and I really wish I could have gotten his signature. Hopefully one of these days in the future Mad Monster he'll come back around and I can. So, but yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. It was a great event. Tons of positive feedback. Yeah, it was just a good time all around. Bit of a bummer that it ends so quickly. Yes. But, yeah, it was good.
This is actually my third time doing the scavenger hunt with Joe, and it was nice doing it again. It was weird this time because the last two times I did it, we were at the Weekopa Resort in Fort McDowell. Yeah. Fort McDowell, and then I missed 2020. Well, everything was missed in 2020. Yeah. I didn't do 2021 when they moved to the new Renaissance Hotel. But literally, I walked in. First thing I said was, "This is basically just an imitation Sedgwick Hotel." But it was a really nice venue, a really nice hotel. I'm glad we got to stay there this weekend. It made it easier to save on gas instead of driving to Glendale 3 to 6 times that weekend. Yeah. But yeah, it was a lot of fun this year. The scavenger hunt was a hit as usual. For me, I had a couple nice interactions with both celebrities and people that I know that were attending the convention I didn't even know about. For me, my main goal this year was to get a Michael Myers mask signed by Nick Castle, the OG Shape. Now, my original plan was to have him sign the same mask that James Jude Courtney did, because I had a 2018 Halloween mask, and I had James Jude Courtney sign that, and I was going to have Nick Castle sign the other side of the mask. So, packing up for this trip, I see a mask in my cupboard, I put it in there, and when I go to get it out to go get ready, I realize, oh, this isn't the 2018 Halloween mask, this is the Halloween Kills mask. Granted, they're technically the same thing, but because in Kills, Michael gets burned a little bit from the fire in Laurie's house, so it's a little sagged on one side. It's like, okay, well, he was still in this, so I can still get it signed, just like that wasn't the plan. But I was still able to go up and have him sign it. Really nice guy. Took a picture with him. It was a really nice experience to be able to meet Nick Castle. This wasn't originally the plan, but I ended up meeting E.G. Daily for younger millennials and older Gen Z kids like myself. You'll know E.G. Daily as the voice of Tommy Pickles and Buttercup from Rugrats and the Powerpuff Girls. So, like we said earlier, Joe got to dance with this lovely lady the first night. Joe, do you want to tell that story really quick? It's just so cool.
So basically it was Friday night and everything. We're all getting the game all ready and everything. All the pieces are set in. Now we're just waiting for, all the attendees basically to just play the game to finish it and whatnot. So lo and behold, I believe she was getting ready for a photo op. And so I noticed she walked by and I was just like, oh, crud, I have to. And so her song from Better Off Dead, the title of the song, is escaping me right now. But I played that song, and I think she got stopped by, one of the other celebrities, and they were just chit-chatting and all that. And her handler or manager, Ace, was right there. And she, looked over to our area, because we were the only ones blasting music at the front of the entrance. And it kind of got, most of the people all hyped up, ready. Okay. So as soon as her song, E.G. Daily's song, Better Off Dead played, like her manager Ace, she pointed to our table, and here comes E.G. Daily, and she's, I mean, for someone her age, still having that energy she had way back in the 80s, and she's just coming off dancing and all that, and we're like all just happy, like freaking my dimples are all showing, and I'm like, hell with it and all that. So I like literally I thought like an Outbreak musical was going to happen at that very moment. So like I got up and all that, and we just start dancing, like we're lip syncing the song and everything. I just see the happiness in her face that like, oh my God, like someone actually listens to like my music and all that. I was like, duh. And so, we're all dancing or lip syncing and everything. And I was just like, you know what? Hell with it. And so I'm basically dancing with Dottie from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. So like, just, hold her and everything, twirl, whatnot and everything. And we're just laughing away and all that.
She just grabbed you by the hand.
And yeah, dude, it was just, that was, to me, that was like I have to use this word, the most magical moment of that night. And so, sorry, Nev Campbell, I know you were there, you were supposed to be the star of Mad Monster, but E.G. Daily, you hear this, you pretty much took the reins from her from that. You basically made, our time worth it over there. And Ace, if you're out there, thank you so much and all that. Filipino pride, yeah. So I mean, we all had great moments and everything. Yes, Saturday night, caught back with a lot of old familiar faces and everything. As I said before in my post, if you follow me on Instagram, like the Rumble Dragon, the magic is still there and all that. Every time, like every Mad Monster just gets, a little better and everything. We saw new faces, made some new, those new faces, we, made some new friends. Dave and Shane. Woo! Yeah, man. Yeah, thank you. You guys made, you guys operated the show very, very well. And to all the stiffs out there, to name a few, let's just say Brett, Nikki, Courtney, Stacy, all those out there and everything. Like, you guys were awesome. All of you were awesome. And yeah, round of applause. Be like Bob Moran from RoboCop. Yes. So, other than like the celebs, like the game and all that, like, and there was never a bad moment. Like, other than, yes, it was short and time passed by quickly because we were working and all that. And we didn't use the pool. I know.
So
yeah, man, when it gets hot over there, it's just fall in. But I would say there was a couple guests. Yeah, Jeffrey Combs, Herbert West Reanimator, Nick Castle. I did get a little chat with him about Major Pain. Like, I didn't even talk about Michael Myers. It was just Major Pain because that was one of my favorite movies as a kid.
It's a great movie.
Yeah. Who else was there? Keith Coogan from Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. He was there. Wednesday Addams from the Adam Sandler TV show was there, unannounced.
Tales from the Crypt.
Oh, yeah. What's his name? Kazir. Oh, God. But yeah, the Crypt Keeper was there.
Yeah.
John Kazir. Yeah, that was him.
Ken Foree.
Ken Foree from, Kenan and Kel, Dawn of the Deads, and who else? Kane Hodder was there from Hatchet. Huge shout out to some of the staff members out there. Jenny, Evan, Kevin, Keith, Hunter. Who is it? Luke, Chad, Garen, Butt. You guys, oh my God, you guys were all awesome. Heck, seeing everyone like a year later, like from the previous, from the previous show, those are such a delight. Like, yeah, like the celebs are the cherry on top and everything, but these people, it's worth catching up.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it is. You're catching up with a bunch of friends. I know we're all stuck to our phones and everything, all messaging, throwing funny memes, but as soon as we all reconnect together as, people and all that, that's what it's all about. I gotta say, Nev Campbell out there being such a trooper for all of her fans. man, you guys were out the freaking door, like wrapping around our table and all that. I mean, and kudos for the line being smooth. Like I thought her line were to reach all the way back to registration. I would have been like, dang.
It almost got there because it would go down and go up, go down and go up. I was just watching that line like a pulse.
Yeah. Was there like anything else that you guys wanted to share? Like, what were some like great moments? I mean, placing items, or was there booths or something you guys want to give like a shout out to?
I will say this: it was nice seeing the Spooky Swirls table there, because for those that are here in the East Valley, it was like what 3-4 years ago that place opened up, right?
Yeah, and then after COVID, it was just
They like closed doors. You could still order from them, but you couldn't go in anymore because they had a really cool like prop museum inside the bakery. But it was nice seeing them actually at the show, and I was thankfully able to get a really awesome Ghostface cupcake. That thing was delicious. Spooky Swirls, if you're listening, open your doors again. I know we can still order from you, but open your doors again. I want to visit you guys again.
We're vaccinated, please.
I actually had an interesting moment at Mad Monster. So one of the vendors there, I'm a big fan of because of their costumes and prop effects. It's Trick or Treat Studios. I was not expecting them to be there. And I'm riding the elevator going up, and I'm just admiring my signatures from Nick Castle. And this guy was talking to me to the left about the knife. And all of a sudden he goes, yeah, I make those. And my face dropped, and I look at him, and it's the owner of Trick or Treat Studios. I'm like, holy cow! Like, oh my God, like this is the owner of Trick or Treat Studios. And so as he gets off on his floor, I was like, dude, thank you so much for everything you do. I really appreciate this. And I was just like, man, I was not expecting to run into the owner of Tots. Like, that was just a bizarre moment for me.
Yeah, for me, I think shout out to Superstition Candle Company, Guy and Jill Caldwell.
They were amazing.
They were, they're awesome, and because we ran with props with them for I think it was all 3 days, yeah, and also Avid Artifice for being huge supporters of the scavenger hunt.
We love your work.
And you guys have awesome work. And I know we didn't do an item with them, but I also want to give a shout out to this Firechild Glass. They had these infinity spheres and he's a local artist here, actually, here in Arizona, and they have some like beautiful, gorgeous work. So shout out to them. And there's so many other vendors that were so awesome to work with for the scavenger hunt, and I know that there were some that I think there were many that came by our booth that wanted to participate, and we tried to get as many people in as possible. I do know that I think there might have been one or two that we weren't able to just because of time crunch, because when we're setting up, we try and get the items out onto the floor before the attendees start showing up. Yeah. And because of the RIP getting in like a half hour sooner than the general admission, it ends up cutting the time frame pretty close. So I think there's like one or two vendors I think that wanted to be in on it, but they weren't present when by the time like the doors were opening, and so we're like, shoot, okay, we gotta find somebody else to set up a prop with, because as is our rule. I know so many of the vendors that know us now, they're just like, hey, just go ahead, drop an item off, don't worry about it. We always like to try and get their permission and work with them and make sure that the item is in a place that's most convenient for them, because we don't want it to be an impediment. We want it to be an encouragement. Right. And so, even if they say, hey, just drop the item off, we prefer to actually be there and let you, have you guys be there and see the item that we're putting up, or maybe even, if you have certain requirements like, maybe a smaller item or a lighter item or whatever. But we always try and do that. So, apologies to any vendors that we may have missed. We'll, if you swing by next year, come by our booth and we'll work something out. But yeah, otherwise it was awesome.
I mean, as you said, man. I mean, it's awesome. Yeah, all the vendors. Heck, shoot us a message and all that, or shoot a Mad Monster a message and all that. And I mean, they'll definitely get back to us and all, because we would definitely love to work with all of you out there and everything. Or heck, just throw a comment, throw a like, whatever. We like that kind of stuff. I don't know if you said. Oh yeah, there's more shout outs and all that. Chris. Definitely from Mad Monster. Kirby out there, thank you. It's also nice seeing a couple of Cinematary friends out there. We have Danny, and then we have Aaron out there. Thank you guys. Tiffany as well. Also Janie Slash for being, memorable. Madame Monster and all that, who actually loved our first Mad Monster and all that. She definitely loved us, having us over there. But yeah, Mad Monster, all the people who work on it, thank you for coming down here, like kind of lifting up our love of horror and sci-fi. And just to conclude this episode here, my name's Joseph.
This is Danny.
This is Vinny.
And this is Charles.
And we are the Petty Cash Podcast. And just to conclude, slow down, chew your food.